Okay, so we're sitting here and we were doing our podcast recording, and I've pulled you off to the side here, Raheem, because
Yes.
you have not been exposed to the greatest Harry Potter fan fiction of all time, My Immortal.
Debatable. But I'll listen. I'll hear you out.
No, it's the world's greatest Harry Potter fan fiction of all time. Because we've been sitting here and we've been discussing couple changes and whatnot in the Potter franchise. Mm-hmm. All right, so I would like to expose you and your audience. Hello, audience. My name is Steve. I'm from WTFodcast. Please come over to our channel and watch. Right now, our schedule has changed. We used to do every other week. We're only doing a podcast once a month now. And that is because currently we are in our year of touching grass. The next episode coming up is actually going to be about me being down in Orlando visiting these guys. So come join us on our year of touching grass. Anyways, but when I read this, and I'm only going to read you the first chapter. All right? If you ask for a second chapter, you can cut up this video and then put in the second chapter. But I'll read you the first chapter.
All right.
All right? Now, I will warn you. This is from fanfic.net's past. All right? This is when fanfic.net used to be really unhinged. And realize when this came out, like when the person wrote this, like the fourth movie had barely come out.
Okay, so we're pretty much in the so we're still in like we're not in 2010s, we're still in the under 2000s. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
When everything was still wild. Okay.
This is old. All right.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, my name is Ebony Darkness Dimension Ravenway, and I have long ebony black hair. That's how I got my name. With purple streaks and red tips that reach my mid-back, and icy blue eyes like limpid tears. And a lot of people tell me that I look like Amy Lee. If you don't know who Amy Lee is, get the hell out of here. I'm not related to Gerard Way, but I wish I was, because he's a major fucking hottie. I'm a vampire, but my teeth are straight and white. I have pale white skin. I'm also a witch, and I go to a magic school called Hogwarts in England, where I'm in the 7th year. I'm 17. I'm a goth, in case you couldn't tell, and I wear mostly black. I love Hot Topic, and I buy all my clothes from there. For example, today I was wearing a black corset with matching lace around it and a black leather miniskirt, pink fishnets, and black combat boots. I was wearing black lipstick and white foundation, black eyeliner, and red eyeshadow. I was walking around outside Hogwarts. It was snowing and raining, so there was no sun, which I was very happy about. A lot of preps stared at me. I put my middle finger up at them. "Hey, Ebony," shouted a voice. I looked up. It was Draco Malfoy. "What's up, Draco?" I asked. "Nothing," he said shyly. But then I heard my friends call me, and I had to go away. Chapter 2. The next day I woke up in my bedroom. It was snowing and raining again. I opened the door of my coffin and drank some blood from a bottle I had. My coffin was black ebony, and inside it was hot pink velvet with black lace on the ends. I got out of my coffin and took my giant MCR t-shirt, which I used for pajamas. Instead, I put on a black leather dress, a pentagram necklace, combat boots, and black fishnets. I put on 4 pairs of earrings in my pierced ears, and put my hair up in kind of a messy bun. My friend Willow woke up and then grinned at me. She flipped her long, waist-length raven black hair with pink streaks and opened her foresting green eyes. She put on her Marilyn Manson t-shirt with black mini, fishnets, and pointy high-heeled boots. We put on our makeup, black lipstick, white foundation, black eyeliner. "Oh my God, I saw you talking to Draco Malfoy yesterday." "Yeah, so?" I said, blushing. "Do you like Draco?" she asked as we went out of the Slytherin common room and into the Great Hall. "No, I so fucking don't," I shouted. "Yeah, right," she exclaimed. Just then, Draco walked up to me. "Hi," he said. "Hi," I repeated flirtily. "Guess what?" "What?" "Well, Good Charlotte are having a concert in Hogsmeade, he told me. Oh my fucking God, I screamed. I love Good Charlotte. They're my favorite band besides MCR. Well, do you want to go with me? He asked. I gasped. End.
This this sounds so much like a fan fiction from the early 2000s to 2000. Like the way it's written, it's like, oh my, like there's like no way this, bro. There ain't no way.
All right.
Wait.
So
keep recording, because I'm gonna paraphrase one fan fiction that I read that I still have to this day. I actually printed the whole thing out. It's sitting in a corner of my bookshelf because I liked it this much. I'm just going to discuss the first 3 chapters with you.
okay.
Just the first 3. So, in the first 3 chapters, we get the setting of Harry as typically, at the Dursleys' place. But what ends up happening is that Dudley goes to Harry and essentially tells him, like, hey, do you want to go hang out and do stuff? To people who don't know, Dudley does not like Harry. So I'm like, okay, this has got to be a fanfic because he actually likes him. Then they actually go down to their living room and actually start hanging out together. Also to note, Dudley has lost 200 pounds in this fanfiction. He's lost 200 pounds, so he's essentially looking like a 120-pound, like, I would say, like middle school or 8th grade, around there. And Harry gets a good look at him. He says, like, how'd you lose this weight? And he says he did it by doing this. He was watching a show that caused him to enjoy the show so much that he didn't eat. Essentially, he basically starved himself and lost all that weight. And they actually bonded through the show with each other because of that. What ends up happening is that his parents get mad at Harry and Dudley hanging out, and they send him to his room. What ends up being in this room? Chapter 2. There is a black phoenix in there, and it's attacking Hedwig. Harry ends up, like, scaring it off or something like that. And then what ends up happening after that is the parents, Vernon and Petunia, in order to get Dudley away from Harry, take a vacation and leave, which leaves Harry there by himself. To which happens, Sirius, Remus, and another thing, Agrabella Fig, who is a squib in the book, all show up to meet him there. And what ends up happening is Remus Lupin shows up through the door with a chest full of serpents in his chest, and and one of them ends up biting Harry and knocks him out. Chapter 3. Harry wakes up. Lupin is fine, and Sirius ends up saving his life. Agrabella Fig is a witch. She's actually a very skilled witch, by the way. What ends up happening as they talk through this out, Sirius, Remus, and Arabella Fig are all members of the Order of the Phoenix. They were part of this group of people who was given a wish-like power by these phoenixes that were saved years ago by this wizard, and they gave him an order, which is essentially like a wish, in order for them to be able to heal someone at the point of death or resurrect people from death. I can see the way you're looking at me now. You can understand why this is a fanfic. And Sirius uses his order to save Lupin, who was dying at that point. And their plan, this is at the end of chapter 3, is to resurrect Harry's mom from the dead, even though she's been gone for nearly 16 years at this point. End of chapter 3.
Interesting.
The absurdity of it is why I was so drawn to, like, this is completely stupid, and it literally, like, it breaks all of the rules and codes for the original canon, and I understand why why it's a fanfic. But there's some things in there because this fanfic was written before she came out with the 5th book. And when I read the 5th book, there were so many things in this fanfic that were in the 5th book canonically that I was just so blown away by, especially when it came to characters in the book and things that were happening in the book. It was so, like, I was just blown away. I'm like, I thought this person had a manuscript of her work and just basically just took points from it and just added it into their stuff. Mm-hmm. It's... Dude, it's a wild read. It's a wild read.
I'll have to check that one out. You'll have to give me the name.
I'll see if I can find a link for you. It's a wild read. It is.
All right. So now Ray is gonna cut back away to the rest of his topic, but I'll be back later for more chaos here, just because I have to lead him down that road. All right. So you can go ahead and cut here, but now I'm really ready to break your brain. All right. All right. So we're back, and I'm sure you've been going on and on about your about the books, and I just wanted to rehome you, real quick about the insanity that is the Harry Potter fan fictions of the early days. All right, so we're going to continue. Trust me. You go back then, even going under the Harry Potter tab of fan fiction was nuts. So now we're going to go back to the insanity that is My Immortal. All right, we've read the first 2 chapters. I'm going to read you the next 2.
All
right, and I think I got you pretty good on the first 2.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. We're there. All right. Perfect. All right. So we're going to continue down this road, and I just want to preface this. Remember, this was written back in the late 2000s, right? So I am sure probably some of your listeners weren't even born then.
There's a good push of them, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. All right. Are you ready for the continuation of My Immortal?
No, but let's go through it anyway.
All right, here we go. On the night of the concert, I put on my black lace-up boots with high heels. Underneath them were ripped red fishnets. I then put on black leather mini dress with all this corset stuff on the back and on the front. I put on a matching fishnet on my arms and straightened my hair and made it look all spiky. I felt a little depressed then, so I slit one of my wrists. I read a depressing book while I waited for it to stop bleeding, and then I listened to some Good Charlotte. I painted my nails black and then put on tons of black eyeliner. I then put on some black lipstick. I didn't put on foundation because I was pale anyway. I drank some human blood, so I was ready to go to the concert. I went outside. Draco was waiting there with his flying car. He was wearing a Simple Plan t-shirt. They would play at the show too. Baggy black skater pants, black nail polish, and a little eyeliner. Hi, Draco, I said in a depressed voice. Hi, Ebony, he said back. We walked into his flying black Mercedes-Benz, the license plate said 666, and flew to the place with the concert. On the way, we listened excitedly to Good Charlotte and Marilyn Manson. We both smoked cigarettes and drugs. When we got there, we both hopped out of the car, and we went to the mosh pit in front of the stage, and jumped up and down as we listened to Good Charlotte. You come in cold. You're covered in blood. They're all so happy you've arrived. The doctor cuts your cord, hands to your mom. She sets you free into this life, saying, Joel, Joel is so fucking hot, I said to Draco, pointing up to him as he sung, filling the club with his amazing voice. Suddenly, Draco looked sad. What's wrong? I asked as we moshed to the music. Hey, it's okay. I don't like him better than I like you, I said. Really? Draco asked sensitively as he put his arm around me all protective. Really, I said. Besides, I don't even know Joel, and he's going out with Hillary fucking Duff. I hate that little bitch, I said disgustedly. thinking of her ugly blonde face. That night went on really well. I had a great time, and so did Draco. After the concert, we drank some beer and asked Benji and Joel for their autographs and photos with them. We got Good Charlotte concert t-shirts. Draco and I crawled back into the Mercedes-Benz, but Draco didn't go back into Hogwarts. Instead, he drove the car into the Forbidden Forest. Draco, I shouted, "What the fuck are you doing?" Draco didn't answer, but he stopped the flying car and he walked out of it. I walked out of it too, curiously. "What the fucking hell?" I asked angrily. "Ebony," he asked. "What?" I snapped. Draco leaned in extra close, and I looked into his gothic red eyes. He was wearing colored contacts, which revealed so much depressing sorrow and evilness, and then suddenly I didn't feel mad anymore. And then, suddenly, just as I, Draco kissed me passionately. Draco climbed on top of me, and we started to make out keenly against a tree. He took off my top, and I took off his clothes. I even took off my bra. He then put his thingy into my you-know-what, and we did it for the first time. Oh, I screamed as I was beginning to get an orgasm. We started to kiss everywhere. My pale body became all worn. And then, "What the hell are you doing, you motherfuckers?" It was Dumbledore!
I'm done.
End chapter.
I'm done. I'm so done with this. I'm so done. I'm so done. Bro. I'm now for people to have a perspective of why I said what I said, here's the thing. I've read quite a few books. I've read quite a bit of fan fiction. There is some fan fiction that I've read, like it is so good that with just a couple of tweaks, this could be an actual book. Not even gonna lie. And then there's stuff like this. And to put it into my perspective, when I'm thinking like this just seems like this is something out of a girl's diary that she was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and put this on paper, show it to the internet, proofread it, and be like, you know what? Looks good. Let's do it.
I haven't even been reading you the author's notes. I have been intentionally obscuring the author's notes from you because they are fucking great. Jesus. All right, like the beginning of chapter 3, author's note. Stop flaming the story, preps, okay? Otherwise, thanks to the Gothic people for the good reviews. Thanks again, Raven. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't own this or the lyrics for Good Charlotte.
This sounds like this was written. I'm not going to even stress it. This sounds like this was written by someone between 7th and 9th grade. I'm not even going to insult sophomore on up.
Most definitely. This was written by a middle schooler. 100%. Are you kidding? If I, like, literally, he put his thingy in my you-know-what. That wasn't me obscuring anything. I mean, I straight up read the trigger warning earlier.
I 100% believe you, because, like, like, dude.
Like...
It's something to
like I read straight up the trigger warning earlier. Like that's literally how this is worded. And by the way, some of the mistakes that I made in reading this, that's how it's written, folks.
Yeah, like
it's literally how it's written.
Yes. Like there's a portion of me that because my English teacher from my college beat it into my brain about grammar and like how it's supposed to be in all of our readings and writings and everything. And he beat it into me to have correct sentences on how I write and everything. Even when I type stuff now, and I literally feel a bit of twinge because he's in the back of my head like, you know that doesn't sound right the way you're writing that. You know that doesn't sound right the way it's worded. Like, fix that. And as Steve was reading, this is happening in the back of my head. Like, that doesn't sound right, right? Like, this just sounds awful, right? I'm like, I know that. I know. Trust me, I know. But this, like I said, this is a 7th or 8th grader writing this crap. Like, to put this also in perspective, the Throne of Glass series that I have on my shelves right now was written by a woman who was probably in, I think, her 18 and 20 years old, and they are full-formed books right now. This is a 7th or 8th grader that we're reading, and we're seeing the difference between it. This isn't even a fanfic. This is just somebody's, what is it? This is somebody's fantasy that they're hoping some guy reads, and then he'll message her and says, "I will do that stuff to you." That's basically
somebody who's getting to know their themselves right now and doesn't know what they really want, but they have this like idea in their head of what they think they want. That's what this is. By the way, couple of key points for people if you seek out My Immortal. We don't know who the author is. There was somebody who was once claiming to be the author. She is most definitely not the author. The author of this stuff has never come forward. 2, don't expect this to actually have an ending. She sat there and never came back to this. Never. So, like, I think totally, I have to relook it up real quick, but, like, if I remember correctly, yeah, there's only 14 chapters. So, like, there's not much to this. But it is beautiful comedic gold. All right. So,
dude, there's a part of me that wants to just tear into this book so much, but I'm not going to, because it'd just be a waste of my time. Just based on just the knowledge that I have right now, I'm not going to, because, dude, because there's so many canon errors. There are so many grammar errors that are just literally just tearing into my head right now. But I'm just going to leave it alone, because this was written long ago, and I'm good.
So one of the things that. One of the things that I want to lead both you and your listeners and watchers down the path of, and the reason why I sat there and got off on this fan fiction kick, and why we're interrupting you talking the books about it, is that oftentimes when you're reading a series, especially as it's coming out, you're looking for things to sit there and fill in the holes and fill in the gaps and fill in those bit parts that you don't have the satisfaction of having filled at that moment. And way back when the Harry Potter books were coming out and everything like that, and even though I was in college during that whole thing, it is one of those things that you want to supplement everything as best as you can. And you're hoping that maybe somebody somewhere on the internet might have, especially during those early days, might have some inkling of where the story is going. And so you get content filler from them, and it makes you feel good. And then the next book comes out, and then you seek out more content filler. And you keep going on and on down this path. And I wanted people to know it is okay to seek out both good fan fiction, because there's great Harry Potter fan fictions. There are great Game of Thrones fan fictions. Least we not forget, Twilight started off as a fanfic. All right?
Yeah, he's not wrong.
So,
yeah.
So least we not forget these things. But at the same exact time, it is truly okay to seek out the bad ones, if not just for the laughs, but to also sit there and occasionally, in the bad ones, you'll find a gem. You're not going to find it in My Immortal, by the way. There's no good gems in My Immortal. Don't go down that path. Don't read fucking My Immortal unless you're ready to sit there and laugh your ass off for the next couple of hours. And in fact, there's a great video on the internet that you should watch of a dramatic reading of it. Please don't bother reading My Immortal. But there are several bad fan fictions out there that have truly shining gold moments in them that make you feel better.
To even put this into a slight perspective, you can probably weigh in on this, even in a way, that the abridged series that we watch on YouTube, DBZ abridged, Yu-Gi-Oh abridged, any of the bridges that come out, they are technically, in some sense, a fanfic because they're straying away from the canon and they are changing up things in a comedic way, obviously, but they're changing the story to fit their own narrative. So they are, in some ways, a fanfic. And to say that fanfics can be good is not true because I've watched DBZA from the start, from the beginning, and the show was actually really, really good, even though it is technically a fanfic. And there's some people that even say they enjoy the bridge version more than the show at sometimes. So
that's me.
In some ways, some fanfics are extremely well done, and then there's some like My Immortal that he just read that are just should never see the light of day. But it shows, fan fiction shows how we can express ourselves creatively and get insight from people to not only from our mind, but also test the waters of our own creativity. Because some people, they are very hesitant about doing readings and poems and all that stuff, and they do fanfics, and it gives them a chance to put their material out there, and it's like, oh, people actually like my work. So I could put out I could put out stuff that I originally wrote and now have the confidence to put it out and actually show my creative side that's well beyond what this fan fiction could have been or has been. Because like you said, Twilight was a fanfic. And they made, how many movies did they make? 4 or 5?
I mean, they made a bunch. And I mean, and let's not forget, sometimes even the art inspires an artist, and then that artist creates a piece of art that inspires another thing. Twilight inspired 50 Shades of Grey.
Yep.
So, like, you know, you constantly go down these roads and down these paths. And that's why I tell people it's okay to sit there and like not only the good art, but the bad art.
Yeah.
Because the bad art, you can use it as an example of what not to do. You can sit there and use it as an example of humor to get you by through a bad day. But also, there are several key things that you can take away in any piece of art. Mm-hmm. And in terms of fan fiction, when you're supplementing media that you're wanting to have a continuance to, that you're wanting to have more breadth and more scope to, and you're wanting that next step and everything like that, it's okay to sit there and fill it with bad just as well as good.
Yeah.
Because maybe the bad gets you to see a character in a way that you didn't want to see them. Maybe the bad sits there and makes you think about a character who you were like, well, they're like a sideline character, but then suddenly you're like, but wait, they could be a main character.
Yep.
Because like I have read fan fictions that have taken things in weird directions. I once read a fan fiction that sat there and explained the backstory of Kingsley Shacklebolt.
That'd actually be something I might want to look at because, like, I do like him as a character. So that is.
I cannot find it for the life of me, but I remember reading it. It was actually really good. So, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, I didn't mean to interrupt your discussing of the books, but I figured, you know, get fans thinking about content in between, content that sits there and acts as fillers. I will let you take your audience back on the journey, but I'm going to bug you one more time before the end of your special.
So there's one more thing I would like to also point out. Just talking like fan fictions. Fan fictions also they can be extended, as we said before, into parodies, which is what Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge are. They're fan parodies. But what if I was to say we were to throw them also into movies as well? Because in my opinion, the greatest parody of our generation that we ever got, that is still popular to this day, is Shrek. Shrek is a full-blown parody. It has been said before. It is a parody of the stories Cinderella and all these other ones. They're merged and then meshed into a bunch of other things. And even as we go on to the other movies, they're bringing things from culture that they're meshing into this movie. Shrek is a full-blown parody, and it has made billions of dollars for being a parody. It is the most popular and well-known parody of its time. But when it comes to like when he said about putting out good, but also being a little bit of bad, another funny one as well is Scary Movie. Yeah.
And with the new recent scary movie coming out, which welcome back, Wayans Brothers. We've missed you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're both a little crazy, but that's fine. But no, you're dead right. Also, I would say that one of the most endearing parodies ever that sits there and shows that it has a life beyond what it is. Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks. You know. Young Frankenstein is another one to really think about. I'm sorry, Frankenstein. But sorry. But like I said, I don't want to distract people too much from you talking about the books and whatnot. But I will come back with one more thing near the end as you're wrapping up to talk about one more subject with you.
Okay.
All right. And